What up? Welcome to First Person Perspective. My name is Anthony Shelton. This is episode 3, the end of E3. I can't say it was the best E3. I can't even say it was a good E3, but we'll talk about that. But did any of your E3 dreams come true? Let me know. I hope so. Got a good episode for you today. I'm going to talk about why E3 should continue forward, but with new management. I'm also going to talk about why a promotion GameStop is doing for the new consoles sounds rather dirty. And I will tell you why I'm fed up with Halo the Master Chief Collection. But first, here's my big topic of the week. E3 2021 is over, and it was kind of a largely forgettable E3, but there were some good games announced. But I have to say, Microsoft won E3 this year. Their Xbox presentation was, I think, the best presentation. Now, you might disagree. Well, Anthony, there's so many games coming out in 2022 that they announced. Well, what are you supposed to do with COVID? All the platforms have games coming out in 2022. So many games were delayed because of COVID. What else are you supposed to do? Well, Anthony, they showed so many CGI trailers. Well, what else are you supposed to do when you got games coming out in 2022? How else are you supposed to show that there's games coming out, that there's games that they're working on? What were they supposed to do? My favorite, though, is that it's just a Game Pass showcase. There's no reason to get a Series X. Well, Microsoft doesn't care if you get a Series X. Microsoft's concern is if you play within the Xbox ecosystem. You're concerned about the wrong thing. Xbox is Game Pass now. They're not even trying to convince you to get a Series S or a Series X. They're trying to get you and convince you to play in the Xbox ecosystem with Game Pass. Why do you think they're trying to put Game Pass on a smart TV? Why do you think they're trying to create an Xbox dongle or a Game Pass dongle where you could plug and play anywhere, potentially? I don't know if they're actually going to do that, but why do you think they would try to do that? Because they're not concerned about, oh, you got to play on a Series S or a Series X. Why do you think they're letting their games come out on legacy hardware of the Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X? Because they don't care about the console anymore. It's not about the console for Microsoft anymore. That's outdated for them. If you're thinking that way, that's an outdated way of thinking about it. The reason why the Xbox presentation was so exciting, because you see all the plans Microsoft has to put stuff on Game Pass. And if you are a Game Pass subscriber, you pay $10 to $15 a month. And not only did they show the games you get to play now, the games that were announced that it came to Game Pass the day the presentation happened, a few months from now, let alone the rest of 2021, but also what's coming in 2022. 30 games, 27 of them are coming to Game Pass. What message do you think Microsoft is trying to send at that point? It's not, hey, get a Series X. It's, no, hey, look at this value. Buy into Game Pass. PlayStation fans, Nintendo fans, you would be excited about those announcements. You would be excited if they showed all these games that are coming 2021, some games releasing today, and games coming in 2022. You would be so excited. This is why Game Pass subscribers are so excited. This is why Xbox fans are so excited. Most Xbox fans at this point are considering getting Game Pass or already have it. Why do you think they are so excited? Because they get to play all of these games day one. 27 out of 30, maybe even 28 if Battlefield 2042 comes out on EA Play for Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. Maybe 28. This is why it was so exciting. This is how it works now. Sony rises and falls with PlayStation. You know what Sony's MO is? Get you to buy PlayStation. They want you to buy the PlayStation 5. Yes, okay, they talked about we don't believe in generations and things like that. I do believe Jim Ryan believes that. But I think because of COVID and other outside factors affecting the business, they can't focus on the PlayStation 5 in the same way that they want to right now. But I do think that's the future for PlayStation. They don't want to focus on the PlayStation 4. They want to focus on the PlayStation 5. Okay? So, either way, they want to build experiences through their games that get you to buy a PlayStation 5. This is Sony's MO. It was the same MO with the PlayStation 4, which made it, near the best-selling console of all time, potentially? Nintendo rises and falls with its IPs. The GameCube didn't sell well. The Wii U didn't sell well. That's okay. You know why Nintendo still exists? Because of their franchises. The Wii U sold anything because of the franchises. The GameCube sold anything because of the franchises. Some of our favorite memories came from GameCube games. A lot of people had great memories that came from Wii U games. But those Wii U games were Nintendo franchises. Can you imagine the Nintendo Switch without Mario, without Zelda, without Splatoon, without Mario Kart, without all the other franchises and games related to those franchises? Yes, we still want Star Fox and F-Zero. Please bring that. If those franchises don't exist, Nintendo Switch does not sell as well. People do not buy Nintendo to play third party. It would be nice if the Switch had third party. I will put that out there. But that's not why people buy Nintendo. People buy Nintendo so that they can play Nintendo games. Nintendo rises and falls with its IPs. Microsoft, at this point, rises and falls with Game Pass. If Game Pass does not do well, Xbox does not do well. And clearly, you can tell Microsoft is trying to put so much value into Game Pass. It is hard to deny. There's almost no reason not to have Game Pass if you own an Xbox. You could pay for Yakuza Like a Dragon. You could pay for Halo Infinite. You could pay for the upcoming Starfield. You could pay for all the rest of the games that were announced. I can't even remember them off the top of my head. Hades is now day one. You could pay for that if you haven't played it already. But instead, you can pay a subscription, $10 a month, $15 a month, whatever, and play all those games within the same month. And you don't have to pay more than $60. You don't have to pay that amount. This is where Microsoft is trying to take their brand. And if Game Pass fails, so does Xbox. Everything rises and falls with Game Pass at this point. And so to see all that stuff, yes, there's some stuff coming in 2022. Yes, it was presented with CGI. But we have a roadmap now. There's a way to go now. PlayStation fans, you know what's coming. You got Horizon Forbidden West. This is great. You're happy about this. Whether it comes this year or next year, you're going to get it. It's good to have that roadmap. Xbox fans have that roadmap. I like Xbox. I have Game Pass. I'm excited. This is great. I like Nintendo. They got some stuff coming too. I'm excited about that. But they didn't show me so many games. I would say Nintendo got second, but they didn't show me nearly the amount of games that I would like to play. Mario Party, I'm down. Metroid Dread, I'm down. That's about it. I'm not really big on WarioWare. I do want to play that Shin Megami Tensei 5. I'm into that. There's some other games as well. They didn't show Splatoon 3, but we know that's coming. I'm down. And they showed Breath of the Wild is coming in 2022. I'm down. but the sheer breadth of games that Microsoft showed, that did it for me. I'm excited. So I got a story to tell you. So I was friends with a high school football player who's pretty good. Was into a cheerleader, right? Classic matchup, right? Football player, cheerleader. They were both pretty good at what they did. He was into her, but she wasn't really that into him. But she milked him. Yeah, he had a job. So she was like, I'm going to get what I can get out of this. And we was talking to old boy, and it was like, yo, she's using you, man. Like, you over here buying her stuff. Like, he was buying her all kinds of stuff. Not like super expensive stuff, but, he come with the flowers, he come with the chocolate, classic stuff. He get her some jewelry, buy her some clothes every once in a while. And this wasn't like an everyday thing, but, it was common enough where it was like, boy, she is using you. Like, you're not getting that much out of this. He really wasn't, but he was head over heels for her. So it was like, all right, man, do what you do. So you know how it ended. They got married. Nah, I'm just playing. They broke up. So we came back to him and was like, well, he's like, yeah, I should have listened. She was milking me. It's like, yeah, yes, of course. That's exactly what was happening. But I get it. He had his moment. It happens. So why am I telling you this story? Because GameStop about to use y'all. So here's what's happening. GameStop is doing this promotion, I guess, where if you sign up for their membership, which is $20 a year, $15, I think, if you sign up for Game Informer, the print edition, you get early access to the console restocks for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. So the obvious gain for you, according to GameStop, is that you get the console earlier, potentially. Operative word, potentially. You also get $5 off every month to spend, extra trading credit, I think it's double, and you get 10,000 reward points. What they don't tell you, what you got to read between the lines, is that you're not guaranteed one. You just get priority. So remember when the console launches originally came up? How many consoles were at GameStop? At one of mine, there were 2 PlayStation 5s. There were 3 Xbox Series X's. On a restock, they had 5 Xbox Series X's, 2 Series S's, and I think 5 PlayStation 5s. So if you're at GameStop, if that's your thing, you get this membership, and they got this restock coming, and you have 30 people sign up for this membership, how early access is that actually? Like, at what point are you going to get a console? Because if you think about it, PlayStation 5s haven't restocked at GameStop since May. Series X just restocked the week of this recording. And those sold out immediately, of course. So just like my homie who was buying stuff for this girl, his odds improved to impress her. But he did not end up winning. And that's exactly what's going to happen with many people who sign up for this membership. Because a lot of people are going to be thinking about signing up for this membership. They're going to be wowed by the idea, I get $5 a month to spend however I want. But I must be alone in this because maybe I'm not that desperate for a PS5. But I've had this thing compared to having console exclusives. Right? Like they preying on your desperation. It's not the same thing. I've had this compared to Prime Day on Amazon. That's not the same thing. These console shortages are not some exclusive deal GameStop has had with Sony or Microsoft. This ain't some like Prime Day sale for items that are in demand and their supply. There's a demand, but there's no supply. By no fault of anybody. It's not Microsoft's fault. It's not Sony's fault. They can't provide right now because of this one piece of hardware that is hard to come by for everybody. And so here's GameStop looking at this console shortage that no one has control over, and they trying to make you pay a little bit more for it. You know what this is more like? In California, the state that I live in, we've had a water famine. Can you imagine if Walmart was like, yo, sign up for our membership and you can have early access to our next water shipment? Like, that'd be so jacked up. Now, yes, that's an extreme example. We need water. But the point is, that would be preying on your desperation. And this is GameStop preying on your desperation. So instead of paying, $550 or, whatever console you're going to get, plus the tax, if you're buying a Series X or a PlayStation 5, you're going to pay about $550 plus tax. Now you got to pay $565 because you're probably going to use that $5 coupon. I would do that if I were you. That's dirty. That's jacked up. Just so you can have early access to the shipments. Because the more people that sign up for these memberships, the more people are going to have this early access. Now, yes, is that not buying on eBay? Is that not supporting the scalpers? Absolutely. But they're in a whole different league. Like if somebody's out there willing to buy off of eBay or wherever else where scalpers are jacking the prices up, they're in a whole different league. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the everyday person, me and you. We got to pay an extra $20. Granted, it's $20 a year, the price of a Nintendo Online membership, to potentially have access to these consoles earlier. GameStop's trying to convince you that that's a great idea. I don't think it is. I feel like they chipping away at your dignity. This isn't how it used to be, but every year now we have to question whether or not we still need E3. This is how it goes. E3 just hasn't been the same for quite a while now, and the ESA just hasn't shown that they are competent enough to run E3. Now, this year, a lot of things were at play. A lot of publishers and developers couldn't really deliver on some things. We had, Gearbox and Bandai Namco and Square Enix and others who just didn't have a lot to show. And that's not necessarily because, they literally have nothing to show. But whatever they probably do have, it wasn't ready. Pandemic. It's a thing. And it affected everybody, including what E3 looked like this year in 2021. So, I do want to give the ESA a little pass. I'm not going to give them a pass on their website and their app. That was just atrocious. They had a year to get that together. I don't think it takes that long to create a functioning app. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not an app developer. I will gladly take an L on that one. I just didn't feel like that it should have taken that long. With that said, though, we still need E3. I was down on E3 before it started. I was, for a while, not really looking forward to it. I was in the camp of, maybe we don't need E3 anymore. Nintendo's doing the directs. Sony's got their state of play. Microsoft still is into the live stage thing, and I'm all about that. That is fun. But so many other people are doing their announcements online, through the social media, through YouTube, whatever. You don't really need us. They don't really need E3. And so, leading up to it, I was like, well, maybe we don't. But then E3 came, and I was excited. I was like, man, this is exciting. Now, granted, I went as media this year, so I think there was a little bit more excitement attached to it because, the work I had to do, that sort of stuff is fun. Like, I kind of love the grind and, the running around feel of, trying to get the previews and get the interviews and what topics are coming up. What are we going to talk about this week? What are we going to talk about today? That's all fun. But next year, when it's probably not going to be digital, if it's a thing next year, it's going to be really important for us to all get back together. And I hope it is a thing next year because you know what? We do need E3. We really do. Gamescom is cool. It's all fan related, but it's not always about the big announcements. E3 is about the big announcements. We have PAX and some good announcements happen there. But PAX is a mixture show. There's a lot of different interests happening around the PAX conferences across the nation. There's nothing quite like E3, where you have publishers, developers, media, and now fans come together and celebrate games and get excited about big announcements. And, for the media, we're also trying to parse other stuff for you guys. It's not always exciting for us, but it can't be run by the ESA anymore. Somebody else needs to run E3. And if it's not the ESA, somebody needs to help the ESA run E3, because they have shown they just don't have what it takes to run E3 and make it interesting in today's climate with all this digital stuff. I don't know what it is, but somebody, it needs to change new management. We need new management for E3. Maybe it is the ESA, and maybe it just needs a fresh mind to go about it. But it can't be just the ESA anymore. It either needs to be somebody else or somebody helping them. So, what I think E3 should look like going forward, after this year, it was clear, number one, it wasn't the best E3. That wasn't totally the ESA's fault. With that said, though, Microsoft and Nintendo had some bangers. And Microsoft had their first E3 without a live stage, and they killed it. They did a fantastic job. And Nintendo, they did what they did. They had their Nintendo Direct, and it worked. And you know what? If Sony would have showed up, they would have had some sort of state of play. Same thing, digital, not really live, but pre-recorded, but it would have probably still would have been a banger. So what I think E3 should look like going forward is a mixture of digital and live. And what should happen is there has to be a compromise. Publishers and developers don't really want to pay all the money to be at E3 anymore because they can do this stuff on YouTube. They don't have to be on the show floor. They don't have to have a live stage anymore. Yeah, EA was another one that had, that didn't have to have a live show like they've used to. And so, let's meet them halfway. Do your press conferences online. Do your reveals online. Do it through YouTube. Do it pre-recorded. Microsoft, do what you did this year. Have this reveal show and then an extra, here's some extra detail show after. Same with Nintendo. Do your Direct. Sony, come back. Do your state of play. But have a live show floor with all the booths. And I'm talking about with all the big players there. I'm talking about Sony. I'm talking about Nintendo. I'm talking about Microsoft. I'm talking about Square Enix. EA. Activision. Sega. Whoever else is at Ubisoft. All of them. All the major players need to come back because it's not E3 without all the big players being there and showing off their stuff and revealing the things that their teams have been working on for a long time. It's an exciting time, and I know it costs money. So there's the compromise. Do your stuff online. You don't have to pay to have the stage show anymore. You don't have to do all that. You don't have to prep for that kind of live environment anymore. You got the pre-recorded environment, a little less stressful. It's good. But then show up for the show floor. Let the fans get a taste of you. Give some info to the media. Let them in on some stuff. And then not only do all the publishers and developers get together, media gets to get together, everybody gets to mingle with the fans. It's great. Does that not sound like a good idea? I feel like that's a compromise. Now, of course, I don't know how much it costs to do the live show. I also don't know. Well, I do know it's very expensive to get on the show floor because usually they're renting out the LA Convention Center, but they can handle it. They got the money. Look, part of your job as a publisher, Activision, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, Ubisoft, EA, etc., is to pay for marketing. Sorry. During this time, it is one of the best times to pay for some marketing. Everybody gets excited during E3, even if it's just Summer Games Fest. Everybody gets excited because it's like summertime, it's reveal time. You want to make those reveals as exciting as possible. How much more exciting can it be when you are right there? You're letting people play your games. You're letting people mingle. You're letting people hang around your booth, talking about your games, enjoying the company. Hello? This free marketing right there. It's expensive. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not. But it doesn't get any better than that. And yes, you could do that at Gamescom. You could do that at PAX. You could do that at different events. But still, there's nothing quite like E3 when it's done right. And so, E3 needs to come back next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and everybody needs to participate. But make a compromise. And also, make sure it's not only run by the ESA. All right, so out of all the games I've been playing this week, the one that I want to talk about the most is the Master Chief Collection. Hello. Yes, Halo, my third favorite franchise of all time. Of course, that one sneaks its way in at the last minute. I had several games lined up, but I am so sick of the Master Chief Collection right now. There is something wrong with the Master Chief Collection and its ability to keep people playing, because I have probably played in the last 3 days or so over 100 matches, and I am not exaggerating. I don't even have to keep track. I'm not exaggerating. At least 70% of the games have had at least one person leave a match. The game could be close. Somebody leaves. Most games are blowouts for whatever reason. The matchmaking just cannot find a way to keep people, relatively in the same realm. So many games are blowouts. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because there are Smurf accounts. I don't know. A lot of games are blowouts, and a lot of people leave regardless. There was a match, didn't even start. 2 people left. Why are people playing the game if you're just gonna leave? Master Chief, he needs to do something about this. Yes, that would be nice. But 343 definitely needs to do something about this. I know Halo in the past, Halo 2, Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 3, those games didn't have fill-in options. So if somebody leaves, that's it. Halo 5 changed that. Now if somebody leaves, it's okay. And I hope Halo Infinite has that, because apparently when people play Halo and it's not quite going their way, they leave. And you get the message. If you leave, you'll be punished in some sort of way. Apparently that's not stopping anybody, because people continually leave game after game after game. I was playing with a buddy of mine. We had 3 people rolling in every game except one. Our teammate left, or the other team had somebody leave. Without fail. The next night I played, people left. And I'm like, what is going on here? Why do people keep leaving the game? And I don't have an answer. I've looked through the replays. I've been trying to see what's going on. I'm like, yo, there's a lot of newbies playing right now, and that's fine. Everybody's excited about Halo Infinite, so they're playing the Master Chief Collection. And, people are getting smoked on the way. That's cool. It happens. I get it. But why are we leaving? Like, if you're going to play the game, don't leave. Do you find some sort of enjoyment? Like, I'm just going to hop at the game. If it's not going my way, I'm just going to leave. It doesn't, I don't know. I have left out of those matches. I have left one time because I just got so sick. It took me I don't like leaving, but it took me a very long time. It was basically a 4-on-1. I'm like, it wasn't even basically a 4-on-1. It was a 4-on-1. And I was like, I'm not going to deal with this. Like, I still got, it's freaking 20-2 right now. You're not going to get to 50 anytime soon. I'm not going to get anything out of this. I'm just going to get teabagged and smacked around, like, and BM'd in the chat. Like, I'm just not going to deal with this. So I did leave one match, but everybody else had already left. So I felt okay about it. Still, though, doesn't feel good. But for other people, they don't care. If the game starts getting away a little bit, they leave. I'm like, what do you get out of this? Can somebody tell me in the comments why people leave? Maybe you guys understand the psychology of people leaving, because I don't. I'm like, stick it through. I'm of the mind, if somebody leaves on my team, okay, it happens. That's less people for the opponent to shoot and more, it's harder because it's still 4-on-3, but it's still less for them to shoot. So there's still a chance. So we just got to work together a little bit better, of course. That's all based on their skill level. I just need 343 to fix this. I need 343 to add in some sort of option for the old Halo games where if somebody leaves, you can fill in. Somebody is filling in. And I know that might be extremely difficult to do for, Halo 2 and Halo 3. Maybe not as much for Halo 2 Anniversary. I don't know. It's built on the foundations of Halo 2. But it needs to be done. It absolutely needs to be done. I know Halo Infinite's on the way. And I know 343 is really busy with that. But it's still a ways away. It's not close enough to where people who are interested in playing classic Halo are willing to put up with what feels like now a dead game because everybody keeps leaving. So, 343, please, for the love of everything that is Halo, for the love of keeping the community playing and having fun, please add in a fill-in option for the old classic Halos.